Alexandra Levine welcomes you to the Alexandra Levine Live Podcast. Today, we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of her upcoming episodes. If you like what Alexandra talks about, then please share the Alexandra Levine Live to others. Alexandra also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine Live Podcast starts now.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello, this is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. You are all in tonight with me, Alexandra Levine. Oh my gosh, we have some strange and weird breaking news with former Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and her husband. Let's put up this image. Nope, wrong image. We're looking for the breaking news image. There it is. So this was from the New York Post today, and the Daily Mail and the Daily Beast actually broke the story. So exclusive details of Kristi Noem. She weighs in on a report that her husband, who's next to her, Byron Noem, lives a cross-dressing double life. She says the family was blindsided by this. I cannot understand or rack my brain around this story. The whole thing is just insane, considering that her husband was just behind her testifying a couple weeks ago after she was moved from DHS secretary to now the special envoy to the special Americas of Latin, special envoy to the Americas of Latin America. I'm like, what in the heck? And what's disturbing to me is I know her husband. I've interviewed her husband. Her husband seemed like a very decent man, a gentleman, someone who didn't want his wife to overstep or overdo her boundaries. I asked him the question. I said, what if President Trump asked your wife to be his vice president? And he said, no, we're not concerned about that right now. We're not interested in that right now. She's interested in being reelected as governor of South Dakota. So he seemed like he was like the man in the household. I mean, the guy made a fortune from his financial industry. I mean, the guy has more money than she does. The guy owns a farm. I mean, they met on a farm 32 years ago. They've been married for 32 years. And this whole story to me is just so asinine. Here's the next image of him actually cross-dressing. So shocking pictures, and this is really him. He did not cover his face here. Cross-dressing husband flaunting giant fake breasts revealed, sparking grave security questions. So they were saying that maybe he did this or, laid this out there to blackmail his wife. For those who don't know, they've been having marriage issues for a while. She did have an affair with Corey Lewandowski. She was asked at the hearing about her alleged affair with Mr. Lewandowski. She didn't answer it the way she should have answered it. And this whole thing is just insane. Now, they were saying that he was going on websites and looking at like good-looking hot women with great bodies. So he's like, well, I'm going to look like you and have a hot body with big boobs. And, he put on this like fake boob t-shirt. And then he's wearing like, you see it with like little pink girl shorts, like he's going to the gym. It's very disturbing. Now, for people who have seen Kristi Noem in person, I have. She's very small. She's flat-chested, or I should say small-breasted, excuse me. She's definitely not a double D or a D cup. She's like maybe an A to a B cup. She's very skinny, very thin. Looks like she's been on Ozempic or she's had a lot of work done. And maybe he's the type of guy who likes a woman with a little bit of meat. So he's looking at women with other meat. I mean, look, she's been looking at other men. She's been looking at other married men. She's sleeping with a married man. And I mean, he's thinking, what am I to do? I'm just the puppet to her. She's just trying to save face by staying married to me. But the whole thing is just insane. I mean, the fact that there's any validity to this story is very, again, asinine to me, very disturbing to me. Let's show the next slide, please. So this is your need to know. So Kristi Noem has reportedly been blindsided by new reports about her husband, Brian Noem. So apparently she didn't know that her husband had this like second identity. She didn't know that he was a cross-dresser, and neither did her children. They have 3 children together, and they have grandchildren. The Daily Mail published photos today that show Byron dressed in women's clothing, including the massive fake breasts and the pink hot pants, as the picture we just showed. This is even more disturbing. Byron also reportedly paid at least $25,000 to chat with online fetish models in the bimbofication scene. So this is through PayPal, by the way. He paid $25,000 to chat with these online fetish models who have huge boobs. And he's like, oh, I'm going to show you I can make myself have huge boobs too. Now, I don't necessarily think he's cross-dressing. I don't think he's a transvestite or transgender or whatever. But I mean, this is disturbing information. And again, it comes on the heels of her being removed from DHS secretaries. DHS secretary. So maybe it was good that she got removed. Maybe people knew something that President Trump didn't know, or maybe President Trump had his suspicions, but President Trump heard about this and he weighed in on this and he's like, oh my God, if this is really true, I feel so bad for the family. I mean, this is sick and disturbing. We don't know how long this guy has been doing this, but as I said, I interviewed him years ago and he seemed very much in love with his wife. He talked about how they met. He talked about how he was excited because he was going to be a grandfather soon. And he talked about his life in South Dakota and how he met her and how he made his money and so forth. So it's very disturbing to me that this is her husband. It's very disturbing to me that this is like coming out as like a real story. But I mean, now people are saying, well, I guess she's justified having an affair with Corey Lewandowski. So this is why she had an affair with Corey Lewandowski, because her husband was dressing up in women's clothing, looking like a woman and paying $25,000 to chat with online fetish models. My question to my audience is, what do you think? Do you think the story is true? Do you think these are real photos? Do you think he really was like this? I mean, the $25,000 payment is, it's verified. You can look up a person's record and what they pay for, especially if it's like an open online thing. You can find what people pay for and what they charge. It's very sick and disturbing. As I said, I know this man. I interviewed him. I never thought my wildest dreams this would be him. She's not so innocent either. She's a whore herself. So, the biggest difference between her and him is I don't think he cheated on his wife, technically, meaning he didn't have sex with another woman. He did, in a sense, cheat physically, and it was just still disgusting. But like I said, they're 2 peas in a pod, and I don't know why they're staying in their marriage. Maybe they have a hell of a prenup. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get a prenup. I don't know. But if I were the 2 of them, I would get divorced. I mean, this is just insane. They should both be embarrassed and humiliated and ashamed. If they're going to therapy and trying to work out their marriage, that's one thing. But this is so sad, and I'm sure that her marriage will be coming to an end, and Corey Lewandowski will be in the scene screwing her at a farm near you, or a farm near her, I should say. Another breaking news, which is very disturbing. So this guy, James A.L.L, who I know personally from Anne Arundel County, he's a Maryland Republican Party official and head of Annapolis-based GOP compliance at Aton Strategies, was indicted on wire fraud and money laundering charges unsealed yesterday, Monday, March 30th. A.L.L, treasurer for over 40 campaigns, is accused of defrauding an unnamed politician and a local tennis group. The unnamed politician, I'm just going to tell you who her name is. Her name is Kathy Shalega. Kathy Shalega is a huge rhino. She is the head of the Maryland Freedom Caucus in Maryland. She's the one that always, pushes against the transgender stuff and, men shouldn't be in women's locker rooms and whatever. But she's a huge rhino, huge never Trumper. And it's still listed that James A.L.L is her treasurer, which is really disturbing. Federal charges of wire fraud and money laundering were unsealed in U.S. District Court by Magistrate Judge Aaron Asian. A.L.L served as treasurer for more than 40 campaigns, including, like I said, Delegate Kathy Shalega. Kathy Shalega is up for re-election, by the way. The indictment mentions an unnamed politician and the Anne Arundel County Tennis Association, where A.L.L was listed as treasurer. FBI investigators previously questioned A.L.L in February 2026 regarding over $100,000 in inconsistent bank balances for Delegate Shalega's campaign. Maryland GOP Chair Nicole Buharris confirmed that A.L.L is no longer a contractor for the party. And this is disturbing because A.L.L was very close to the Harrises. He worked with Andy Harris. He's been working with Nicole Buharris. How, people say, like, how could Nicole Harris, as the MD GOP chairwoman, how could she not know that this was going on? Like, he literally did this underneath their noses. Szeliga stated that her campaign began an internal audit and is cooperating with investigators, noting that a professional treasurer and someone I considered a fiduciary may have violated our trust. I mean, there's been reports against James A.L.L for years. I thought it was very disturbing that he was the treasurer for all these different campaigns. I said to myself, how does this guy keep it straight? But apparently he was funneling money from campaigns to pay off a loan for his yacht. His yacht is very expensive. And he's like, well, I need to pay off my yacht, so I'm just going to use the campaign funds that I get. And that's how I'm going to pay off my yacht, which is illegal, of course. So this guy should be going to jail for a long time. And I hate to say it, the people that were involved or knew about his behavior should go to jail too. This is Maryland Republicans. This is the Maryland GOP. That's why Maryland Republicans lose, because of these people, because of the shenanigans. And they don't care. They act like Democrats, and they're all rhinos, Republicans in name only. And none of these people are honest. None of these people have clean slates. And it's really sad. But you know what? In the end, Lady Justice comes through. And in the end, we find out who are the real people and who are the snakes. And James A.L.L, I'm sorry, he's a snake. And he should be held accountable for his crimes. I just want to say, I want to thank law enforcement. I want to thank local state government enforcement for going after him, for breaking the law, because nobody is above the law, including these damn rhinos. But let's turn to some good news. What does Paul Lemon say? So breaking, and we've covered this on my show in recent months, but Palm Beach International Airport is officially being renamed to Donald J. Trump International Airport as of July 1st. Governor Ron DeSantis has signed the bill. LFG, this is well-deserved. Florida is Trump country, which is true. Very, very true. And as you know, President Trump, he flies into Palm Beach International Airport on a weekly basis. Every weekend he's down there to Mar-a-Lago, because Mar-a-Lago is in season right now. They're heavily in season. And, it's very important. It's very, very important that we make sure that President Trump has an airport named after him. Now, some people have stated, why are we doing it now that he's president? We should wait till after he's president and rename an airport after him. I've had people tell me, well, why don't we put his name on a bigger airport? Palm Beach International Airport is like a small airport. It's not like a huge airport. Well, it depends on the state, depends on the governor. This is an airport that he goes to all the time. People know him there. My uncle actually drives by this airport all the time and sees President Trump's Air Force One all the time and Marine One all the time. So kudos to Governor DeSantis for signing this bill. Governor DeSantis has been kissing Trump's behind a lot lately. For those who don't know, Governor DeSantis will be out of a job after the next election because he's term limited. Byron Donalds is the one who's supposed to win the primary and win the governorship. But what is Mr. DeSantis to do? What is he and his wife going to do? You think they're just going to walk away and be parents and just go live a life that they don't know? No. This Governor DeSantis has been in politics majority of his life, half his life. So there's talks that the governor may join the Trump administration. We'll keep you posted on that. Then there's talks that my Senator Rick Scott may retire and Ron DeSantis may run for his seat. I'm telling you, Ron is not going anywhere. I don't see Ron running for president again. I think he really screwed himself by running against Trump. I could see him as vice president. I could see him in that position, but I personally don't see him as the president of the United States. But you never know. This country is very forgiving, and people in positions of power, they get in through different channels. So maybe this country will be convincing and they'll put Ron DeSantis in as president, but we don't know. We'll just have to find out. But I'm very happy about this. I'm very, very happy about this. So look, July 1st for the renaming of Palm Beach International Airport to Donald J. Trump International Airport. Now we go into segment one. So segment one's title is my Cpac 2026 analysis. So I had the pleasure of going to Cpac. It was in Dallas this time. instead of DC. Matt Schlapp decided to get rid of the contract in DC because, DC is corrupt. And I think Matt Schlapp was getting screwed by the money that they were charging him. And he's like, where can we go where it's very Republican and it's Trump country and I don't have to deal with a lot of crap and it's constitutional carryover there. You don't pay state income tax, sales tax. Let's put it in Texas. So that's where they had it. They had it in Dallas. But I'll be honest with you, there was not as many people as I've seen in future Cpacs. President Trump did not speak, neither did J.D. Vance, neither did any heads of the cabinet under President Trump. So people are like, well, President Trump's involved in a war right now. It would look bad if he, took a weekend off or a day off to speak. Well, President Trump's never missed a Cpac except for 2016. So it's very unusual that he missed this one. It's very unusual the vice president didn't speak. It's very unusual Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth didn't speak. And I think it's because Cpac, in my opinion, has lost its spark. Now, the theme was a very different theme than what we've seen. Yes, they had a lot of MAGA people there. It was America first. A lot of very, very hardcore conservatives didn't feel it was America first. They thought it was Iranian first. There was a lot of Persians at Cpac because they were all hyped up about Reza, who's the crown prince, coming to speak at Cpac. He was kind of the highlight of Cpac. So I figured maybe President Trump took a step away from talking at Cpac to give the moment to Reza Pavani, because they really want Reza to be the leader, to be the one in power. And President Trump is talking with Reza and Netanyahu on a daily basis about Reza taking over. And Reza wants to take over. He wants to get rid of the Islamic terrorist regime of Iran. And he said, I would love to have a great relationship with Israel. I would love Netanyahu to come here. I love the relationship that we have with President Trump. And let's keep this alliance going. And a lot of the Arab nations support this as well. But Reza said it's up to the Iranian people what they want to do. But he said a line that was very important. He said, we as Iranians, we would rather die standing than die kneeling. So basically saying we don't beg for our lives. We die with pride. And if we die with honor. But he's saying that we will fight to the end. We will fight to the death. And that's important to hear. But again, when I was there, I failed to see a lot of Americans that were supporting Israel. And they definitely were not supporting Iran, and they definitely were not supporting the war. And then you had Steve Bannon. He's the leader of the war room. He used to work for Trump. And Congressman Matt Gaetz from Florida, who I used to really like, really liked. And I know his wife and I know his brother-in-law. And Matt Gaetz has gone full anti-Israel, which is very sad because he used to be very pro-Israel. Steve Bannon and other people that are on the war room with him, they have just gone off to this anti-Israel war path. They're like, if you don't talk about America first, if you don't focus on the issues here domestically, screw what happens overseas, screw the foreign policies. We need to focus only on American policies. Yes, that's important. But if you don't fix what's going on overseas, then what happens in America is screwed too. I always tell people what happens over there always ends up here. We have a lot of illegal terrorists from foreign countries that have come here illegally that President Trump is trying to get rid of. If President Trump doesn't fix the foreign policy, then he can't fix the domestic policy. People don't understand. These illegals came from overseas. He's got to fix and build the relationships overseas. And the people in power overseas, they love him. The presidents and prime ministers of other countries, they love him. I've never seen such love for America from the Iranian crown prince, from a foreign leader. I see it in Viktor Orban, the prime minister of Hungary. I see it from Bibi Netanyahu. I see it from Javier Milei in Argentina. Why can't we get the majority of governors to support President Trump, regardless of party? Why can't we have that here? Why can't I see more American patriots being happy that President Trump is going in there and he wants to have peace? And this is not a long war. Everyone's like, oh, President Trump said I'm a no war guy. This is not really a quote war. This is not like Iraq and Afghanistan. This is something that has been going for 46 years that President Trump was the only person to have the balls to do something about it. But because Israel's involved, oh my God, Israel's the enemy. Oh my God, Zionists. You can't say the word Zionist, Zionism. Oh my God, it's a curse word. I'm so sick of it. There was a lot of anti-Israel and anti-Zionist people at Cpac this year. And Cpac talks about combating anti-Semitism. Now, I was at Cpac Shabbat. I was honored there. And that was a beautiful, beautiful Shabbat. It was all pro-Israel. It was all pro-Trump. There was no shenanigans. Nobody was, saying that we're not America first enough. That, I would say, was the highlight of the Cpac. That was one of the reasons I went to Cpac, was because of Cpac Shabbat, to be honest with you. It was the highlight for me. But again, the ignorant young kids, and I interviewed some of them, they really don't know what the hell is going on. But I can tell you, and they had a Cpac straw poll, that 85% of people support Israel, and 87% of people support what President Trump is doing with Iran, and 96% of people support Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State. Now, what's interesting to me is that I think it was like 53% of people supported J.D. Vance as the next president in 2028, but Marco Rubio was at 33%, so he's not that far behind. I can tell you, I support Marco Rubio for president more than J.D. Vance, and that's because J.D. Vance has said some things about Israel that don't sit well for me. And I'm not the only Jew that has said this, and this is regardless of political party. I've heard Democrats say the same thing, that they would rather have Marco Rubio than J.D. Vance. And a lot of Jewish Republicans say I'd rather have Marco Rubio than J.D. Vance. Now, you can criticize Marco Rubio all you want. He was part of the Gang of Eight. He was a rhino, never Trumper for a long time. People say he's establishment. Somebody said that Trump made a deal with the deep state to put Marco Rubio in as president. There's all these possibilities, theories, scenarios. But I can tell you that Marco Rubio has the experience and he has what it takes to be president. Also, you want a president in there that supports your allies and will work with your allies. I want a president that will support Israel and work with Israel. And I believe that Marco Rubio will do that. I believe that Pete Hegseth would do it too. Tulsi Gabbard, not so much. Definitely not J.D. Vance. I could see RFK Jr. working with Israel. I could see John Radcliffe. That's about it. Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi does very well with Israel. She's done a lot in the state of Florida when she was the Attorney General working with Israel, with the Florida Israel Business Accelerator, FIBA. But look at what we have to choose from. But then I also have criticism from people that are saying, why are we discussing 2028? We're not even there yet. We got 2 years left to go, and we're all talking about who's going to be the next president. It's too much drama right now. The mainstream media is pushing a war, and they want you to choose between Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance. That divides the Republican Party even more. Republican Party is already divided. We have the alt-right crazies that are anti-Semitics. They're like white supremacists and KKK. And then you have the conservative movement, which is the same people such as myself. And on the Democratic side, which there's hardly any more moderate Democrats, they've all switched to Republicans. And then you have democratic socialism, which is the minority trying to be the majority. So there's a lot of division in both parties, but the difference is that the Democrats stick together more than the Republicans do. The Republicans have to question everything. And they have to be too emotional and add drama. So as you know, every time I go to Cpac, I always wear something. I wear an Israeli flag on my dress. This time I decided to wear a flag, and we'll put up the first image. So the flag shows America on top and Israel on the bottom holding hands. So it shows that I am America first by having America on the top, and then I support Israel second. It doesn't show that I'm Israel first. It doesn't show that I put Israel first and foremost before any other country. But I can tell you that every other photographer came up and took a picture of that. I was interviewed by many people because of that flag draped over my body. I hung out with a lot of Iranians for Trump and a lot of Iranians that support Reza. And I can tell you that there was actually in the next images, I'll get more into detail about that. But I wore this to show that we support Israel, that we will stand and support our ally, and that we can depend on Israel when we need them, and vice versa. Let's put up the next image. So this was actually a picture of the Gaylord in Texas. It's a much bigger Gaylord than the one in DC. And up at the very top, you can't see it because it's not nighttime, but they had a sign saying Cpac all over the place. And it was very beautiful. Like, it was a really, really beautiful ceiling of Cpac. And I loved it. Like, I really loved how they demonstrated this. I mean, every other restaurant you went to was a saloon, a lot of bars, a lot of things to do at that hotel itself. Let's put up the next image. So this I want to get into. So before you even get to the Gaylord, they had a flag wave signing. So what flags are there? You have the United States American flag, you have the Iranian flag, and you have the Israeli flag. Now, some people at Cpac, they lied and said that they saw a bunch of foreign flags. There was only two foreign flags, the Iranian and the Israeli. The American flag was first and foremost and hanging up straight high. I didn't see a Mexican flag. I didn't see a Guatemalan flag, an Ecuadorian flag, a Peruvian flag. It's not like when, they had the riots against ICE type of thing. No, they had three flags: America, Israel, and Iran. And let me tell you something. It was so beautiful as a Jewish person to see that. It was so beautiful as a Jewish person to hear the respect and love that Reza gives to the Israelis as well as to the American people. Let's put up the next image. So again, it shows more of that flag wave signing. It shows, again, the Israeli flag, the Iranian flag, and the American flag. So all these people that went to Cpac that claimed all they saw was foreign flags, they're dead wrong. And a lot of these people are that said things about Cpac. A lot of them are alt-right people. A lot of them are like hardcore conservatives. Don't believe we should be giving money to Israel. Don't believe we should be going to war with Israel. Again, they're on the wrong side of history. They don't understand what Trump is doing. That's why I thank the Lord that they're not in positions of power, because they would really ruin our country first and foremost. Let's put up the next image. So again, another image of a woman holding an American flag up high with an Iranian flag, and yes, there's an Israeli flag right there. So again, three flags. Where's the truth that there was a bunch of foreign flags at Cpac? Now again, I told you the vibe of Cpac was very different than what I've seen in previous years. I hope that next year's Cpac will be better. It's going to be in Florida, Orlando. I hope that President Trump speaks. That's why it's very important that Republicans win hardcore in the midterms, and that we keep the House of Representatives Republican. We expand the House of Representatives Republican. But again, the lies that people told about a bunch of foreign flags at Cpac. This was a beautiful thing to see. As a Jew, as I said, I was very happy with this. I wasn't offended. I loved it. It was very nice to see Iranians stand shoulder to shoulder with me, saying they love Netanyahu. Am Yisrael Chai, I heard, which means Israel of life, or to life with Israel. So people that were pissed, they need not to, they shouldn't have been pissed. A lot of people jumped the gun again. You work with logic, not emotion. Let's go to the next slide. So this was really interesting. So I was very happy to see this organization. It's called We Are the Zionist Generation. This guy had a t-shirt saying, I'm an American Zionist. And they put this booth all, in the back. These people happened to be at Cpac Shabbat, and they spoke about their organization. This was the only pro-Israel group that was at Cpac. Everything else was anti-Israel. Everything else was crapping on the Jews. There was a guy named Eric Prince who got up and he was very negative about President Trump in Iran, and talked about how we shouldn't have foreign governments controlling what we do. We shouldn't have foreign governments involved. He's a moron and an idiot. And a lot of people were sick of the anti-Israel rhetoric that was coming out of people during Cpac, during these speeches. So I'm very happy that this organization was there. The guy to the far left with the gray hair organizes the organization. I did ask him to come on my show. I will be interviewing him, because we need to define the word Zionism for people in my audience and for people nationwide or worldwide. The word Zionist is not a curse word. To be a Zionist is a good thing, not a bad thing. To support Israel's right to exist is a good thing. And you will walk beside Jesus or whoever you worship in the kingdom of heaven if you support and stand with Israel. And everyone's like, well, it's okay if I criticize the Israeli politics. The problem is people don't understand what they're criticizing, and they attack Netanyahu and they don't understand why. And then they call him a Zionist this and a zealot and that. And I'm like, okay, well, now you're attacking Zionists. And then people say, well, I don't like Zionists. I'm anti-Zionist, but I support Israel. I support some Jewish people. No, you can't. That doesn't work. If you're anti-Zionist, you're anti-Israel. And if you're anti-Zionist, it means you hate Jews. You are anti-Semitic. I know people don't want to hear it. I know they don't understand it. And that's the propaganda that the left pushes on TikTok and so forth. But anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. And if you have a problem with me saying that, I don't give a damn. Because I'm wiser than you on this subject. And I know the subject really well. And there's anti-Jew Jews. There are Jews out there that hate Israel, that hate being Jewish. And they're loud and proud about it. But we have to call out the hate. So I applaud this organization, this American Zionist organization. I'm glad that they were at Cpac. I'm glad that there was at least one organization besides Cpac Shabbat, which is with the young Jewish conservatives, that supported Israel, that supports the Jewish people and American Jews nationwide and worldwide. Let's go to the next image. So who is this? So this is Jewish comedian Rob Schneider. So Rob Schneider is a former Democrat. He lived in California. He moved from California to Texas because he was so sick of Gavin Newsom and the taxes and how the state of California was turning out to be. So now he tours all over the country and he's doing great and he's funny as hell. And he loves Trump. He supports Trump. And he was doing a skit with Real America's Voice and Real America's Music. And he was just hysterical. And, you know, he always talks against Ilhan Omar, always talks about the Somali fraud, says, you know, don't leave your child with someone from Somalia. Don't have an au pair from Somalia. He's hilarious, but he's right. He's right. And his wife is very supportive of what he does, which is very important. You do want to have a spouse by your side that understands your politics. It becomes very dicey when you don't. And it was just a pleasure. It was such a pleasure to see him and to hear what he had to say. Let's go to the next slide. So this is my friend Brandon Struck. Brandon Struck is the founder of #Walkaway, which is, you know, telling everyone to walk away from the Democrat Party. He himself was a hardcore liberal and walked away from the Democrat Party in 2018, never looked back, and created a big organization. And he talked about his relationship with Mark Levin and Tucker Carlson. He said, they're both my friends. I'm not going to, not talk to one over the other. I'm not going to silence one over the other. And he said, there's no reason that I can't be friends with both. And I do not have to choose. And I'm not going to choose because someone tells me to choose. I'm going to be my own independent person, do my own independent research, and I'm going to choose who I talk to and who I interview with. And he was just being very honest and objective. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love the fact that he supports Mark Levin. I love the fact that he supports the Jewish people. He was at Cpac Shabbat with me a couple of years ago, and he has gotten a lot of Jewish people to leave the Democrat Party. What happened to Brendan Struck was BS. He was completely screwed over. He got, unfortunately, he was arrested after he wasn't even near the Capitol on January 6th. And I mean, it completely changed his life, probably forever. But now he's getting back his revenge. And I support his fight. I support his fight to combat the corruption of the government, because the government screwed him. So he's not going to allow anybody else to get screwed over. But he has a big voice and a big following. I've supported his movement from the beginning. I've done a lot of events with him. Tim Fiesenmaker and I have done a lot of events with him. We will continue to do events with him. He has done a lot of events with Tim. He supports Tim a lot. And he's all about freedom of speech. He will never take your freedom of speech away from you. He just doesn't like hate speech. Let's go to the next slide. So this is Todd Crisley. Todd Crisley, as you know, he and his wife were arrested. They were convicted of wire fraud and different charges. He said they were falsely accused, and the judge was going to have him in there and his wife for 25 years. His daughter Savannah was pleading with President Trump to take a look at their case to see if they can lower her parents' sentence and pardon their parents. And she is like a big voice, big Republican. Cpac gave her a voice. And because of Savannah's efforts, her parents were pardoned by President Trump. And they're going back on the road. They're actually moving to Texas from Georgia, and they're starting a new show. So we're going to look for that. And I used to watch his show, Grizzly Knows Best. I used to watch it on Bravo. But, he says I'm innocent. I mean, he's been saying it for years. My wife and I were innocent. And, he thanks President Trump every day for pardoning him, and he's a big supporter of President Trump, big supporter. So it's good to see him there. It's good to see, good to see him and good to hear what he had to say. Next slide, please. So this was John Solomon with Dean Cain. Dean Cain was Superman back in the day. He also enlisted to be an ICE agent. Dean Cain has gone full out for Trump, big Trump supporter. Jonathan Solomon also has his own network, and he's on Real America's Voice as well. So Real America's Voice had a lot of celebrities featured up there, and a lot of big names like John Solomon and so forth up there. And it was good to see Dean Cain. Dean Cain was very sweet. He came up to everybody and just was very personable. Next slide. So again, this was the highlight of Cpac. Reva Pavani, he is Pavlani, excuse me, I'm butchering his name. He's the Iranian crown prince. So Cpac erupts in silence as exiled Iranian crown prince Reza Pavlani delivers a massive line at Cpac. He says, President Trump is making America great again. I intend to make Iran great again. And there was thunderous applause when he said that. There was a lot of people that were in support of the crown prince there. I support him. Like I said, I hope that he takes over. As you know, his father was huge in Iran. So he wants to take over. He wants to be, the guy in charge. But he said it's up to the Iranian people to take back their country. He did already talk about the steps that Netanyahu and Trump are making for the transition. He talked about IPP. He talked about digital. He talked about he acted like he was already ready to go. Like they're putting him in place. So it was very positive, very uplifting. Pete Hegseth again said that we're winning the war. And of course, they're not going to tell us every little detail. They're not going to tell us everything behind the scenes. But he's very optimistic and positive and accepted being the person of power. Next slide. And Reza Pavlani at Cpac, he said, quote, the final blow will be delivered by the people of Iran themselves. They're taking shelter while the bombs are falling. But when the right moment arises, I will call on them to rise up again. And that was a very important line. So I'm going to say it again. The final blow will be delivered by the people of Iran themselves. So he's saying it's up to the Iranian people. They're taking shelter while the bombs are falling. But when the right moment arrives, I will call on them to rise up again. So that, again, that is what Trump and him and Netanyahu and other Arab nations are talking about. And let's go to the last slide. No, I thought I had another one in there. Unless that was the last one. I was counting it correctly. Oh, I guess not. I thought that was the last one. So that's a good one that we ended on. So again, if you went to Cpac, what I want to know from my audience, what was your take on it? How did you feel? Was it a different vibe? Were you happy that President Trump didn't speak? Were you unhappy? I can tell you I was very unhappy that President Trump wasn't there. And it kind of put a damper in the mood. And the energy wasn't there. But for people that were saying there wasn't a lot of people there, I can tell you Saturday it was packed because they had a lot of bigger names that were speaking, like RFK Jr. and Brandon Gill and Reza, and actually the Prince of Poland, or not the Prince, I'm sorry, the Prime Minister of Poland spoke. And it was, and someone, I think it was the President of Brazil spoke. Some big names from overseas came and spoke. So it actually made the convention a lot better. And again, and I'm sorry, I correct myself for the record when I said no one from Trump's cabinet spoke. RFK Jr. was really the only one from Trump's cabinet that spoke at the entire Cpac. But it's, again, I want to hear it from you guys. A lot of people said it was a great Cpac. There was people that were there for the very first time. A lot of people told me this is my first Cpac. And I was very floored to hear that. And I know they'll be coming back next year in Florida. But has Cpac lost its spark? I believe it has. There's been some scandals against Matt Schlapp in the past. And, it looks really bad when the President of the United States, who's been there since 2017, doesn't come speak. It looks very bad, especially when midterms are coming up. But I believe that after the midterms, if we get significant wins, he'll be back. So before we go on our break, don't forget to go to RNC. Why am I saying Stonewall? Sorry. RNC Store. I can't even read my own writing. .com/ALL. That's RNCstore.com/ALL. Get 10% off. Type in ALL. If you don't type ALL, you don't get the 10% off discount. You got to go to rncstore.com. This is great. We have Passover coming up. Passover food is horrific. So you want to take these supplements before you eat Passover foods, aka matzah and gefilte fish. Gefilte fish is Seth Eisenberg's favorite, by the way, not. And of course, after you're done with that Passover food, because kosher for Passover cakes are disgusting, you want to detox yourself. You want to clean yourself out of all of the kosher for Passover food that's going to make us all gain 20 pounds. But I advise everybody to just eat matzah for one day, even though it's 8 days. Eat matzah for a day. Just eat plain food, potatoes, vegetables. Now, there are some Jews that are Sephardic. They'll eat what they call legumes or rice. If you're one of those Jews that go Sephardic during Passover, I advise you to eat light rice, to eat light beans, to help your digestive system. But if you're eating all that veal and brisket and matzah for Passover, oh my God. And then if you're one of those people that celebrates Easter and Passover, oh my God, you're getting a double whammy. So take rncstore.com/ALL, take these supplements. I've lost significant amounts of weight because of it. My energy level is up. So please, guys, this is very important that you take these supplements. Again, put ALL in there. If you do not put ALL, you do not get the discount. Stay with us, guys. We are live, and we will be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
Well, hello, everyone. We're back. I'm Alexandra Levine, live with the America's Pulse Network. Don't forget, we are live at America's Pulse Network. Like and subscribe to us. We are currently on Rumble, Spotify, Substack, Facebook, X, YouTube, True Social, Parler, Instagram, TikTok. We're on about 15 different connections nationwide and worldwide. So please, guys, like and subscribe us. And also, you can currently go on our website, AmericasPulseNetwork.com, and we should be aired live on our website. If you are interested in being a podcaster, and we have been expanding our podcasts, especially this year, go to our website and sign up as a podcaster. If you're interested in sponsoring my show, other shows, the network, the Pulse, please go to AmericasPulseNetwork.com and fill out the sponsorship form. We would love to have you as a sponsor. We're always looking for sponsors. So segment 2, of course, talks about the SAVE Act, which has not been passed yet, and election integrity. And President Trump is pissed because the freaking Senate decided to take a recess, which he was really pissed. And he's calling all the senators and the congressmen to come back to D.C. and pass this act. Because what happened was John Thune, in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. last Thursday morning, called Chuck Schumer and basically gave the Democrats everything. He gave them everything. And guess what? Lack of funding for ICE, lack of funding for DHS. We're not getting everything that we wanted to get. And that's because of John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader. He's a POS. He's a rhino mofo. I never supported him. I supported my Senator, Rick Scott from Florida, as the Senate Majority Leader. There's got to be a way to get rid of John Thune. There's got to be a way to get rid of him. This is insane. But he's Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn light. So he's going to do the bidding of the Democrats and the rhinos, because that's what he is. He's going to do the bidding of Mitch McConnell, because Mitch McConnell is retiring. He's not coming back. So he's doing the bidding of Chuck Schumer as well. But election integrity is really huge. And as you know, in certain states nationwide, they do not require photo ID. That's a problem. And mail-in ballots are huge in certain states. As you know, some states you can request a mail-in ballot, but in other states, once you say, I want a mail-in ballot, you always get a mail-in ballot. So, of course, there's chaos with that. Also, we're finding, especially in liberal states and liberal counties, that require signatures to get on the ballot, such as Ohio and New Jersey, like what happened with our good friend Damon Galdo. is, he was required to have a certain amount of signatures. He got the signatures that he needed, but for some reason, 500 of them didn't work out. He needed 500. And I think, and Damon Sherrod, you can double check me on this. I think maybe he was over, maybe at 580, 590. Oh, 82. There we go. Thank you. So he was at like 582. And all of a sudden the State Board of Elections comes in and says, wait a minute, these are not good signatures. They're not verified. They don't look legit, blah, blah, blah. So they took him down to 481 and you need 500. So he had to go to court and fight. And he fought, Baruch Hashem, we say, and he's on the ballot in the general because he already won the primary. This was for the general. So it's a real problem. We got 507. Thank you. So, because I think you need 500 to get on the ballot. In Ohio, for example, for local races, you need 50 signatures. And there was one lady, she got 58. But what did the State Board of Elections say? Well, this person, they haven't voted in a Republican election in a long time. This person's signature, you can't read it. This person's signature is involved. The dates are wrong. So they took her from, she had 58 down to 49. So they made her under so that she couldn't get on the ballot. Then by the time she was trying to fix the situation, they said, well, I'm sorry, you have a deadline. If you don't comply now, you won't get a chance to be a write-in. And she's like, what? So they gave her like no chance to fix her problem and to get her on the ballot. Now they were pressuring her to be, they're like, well, if you don't do this, you can't be a write-in. Now she's a write-in candidate. But it's really sad because I know the people that worked with her. I know the people that were, trying to get signatures 2 days before the deadline. And what we're seeing with these damn people, State Board of Elections, is you have to have a ton of signatures now. If they tell you need 50, you need to get 100. If they tell you need 500, you need to get like 1,000. Because what they do is they try to cut at least half or a third of the signatures that you get so you're not on the ballot. But the sick part is they're more concerned with you getting on the ballot than checking signature verification on the mail-in ballot. That's the sick part. That's the sick part. And people aren't talking about that. That needs to be addressed. That's why we need to get rid of these damn mail-in ballots. It's bullshit. Pardon my language. It's crap. It's real crap. Like I said, I was in Europe with Martanya Grossi. We talked about this on our network. They don't have mail-in ballots there. They don't have them. If somebody is sick, they have someone come over and help them with their ballot, but they still have to cast the ballot on the day. There's no casting the ballot beforehand or after. They don't do early voting. It's election on the day. You know the results right away. And it's paper ballots all the way. All the way. So it's really disgusting. And it's a real problem. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Let's put up the first image. That's not the first image. There we go. So this was a big story that happened out of Palm Beach County. Palm Beach election volunteer arrested for stealing encrypted access key and computer equipment days before Democrat wins special election by 800 votes. The district includes Mar-a-Lago, which is President Trump's district, which he won a significant percentage in 2020 and 2024. And they said the district includes Mar-a-Lago. Investigators fear the key could be reverse engineered to tamper with voter registration. If it's happening in Florida, it's happening everywhere. Let's go to the second slide. So the second slide is a volunteer at the Palm Beach Elections Office. He was arrested after allegedly stealing an encrypted access key and computer equipment just days before a special election. The Democrat candidate won that race by 800 votes in the district that includes Mar-a-Lago. Investigators again are concerned the stolen encryption could be reverse engineered to compromise voter registration systems. The theft was reported after the election. Of course, that's what always happens. And the items were recovered from the suspect's home, along with a large amount of electronic devices. This case raises serious questions about election integrity, even in a state like Florida. And I'm a resident of the state of Florida. I vote in Florida. And I've told my governor, Ron DeSantis, to get rid of the damn machines. Because this was a volunteer that literally stole one of the machines and effed with it at his home. Where were the election judges? Where was the State Board of Elections? Where was the law enforcement to stop this guy before it happened? There's camera footage of him taking it And again, people are like, oh, it's the machines, it's the machines. Are the machines AI? How do they work, huh? Human beings have to mess with the machines. Yes, we're in an era of robotics and AI, but not when it comes to these machines. So how did this happen? My friend William Newton coined the term corrupt internal election personnel. That means it is an inside person, an inside volunteer who was not heavily vetted, stole this machine. And there's a lot of inside people, like we saw in Georgia in the 2020 election. Corrupt internal election personnel that steal elections. We have people in the state board of elections all over the country that ruin elections for the right person. In Baltimore County, we have a Rhino Republican who works for a Rhino delegate, Rick Metzger. He works under him. And this guy is going to be working the elections, especially the contested primary with Tim and this Rhino opponent. And the Rhino opponent is supported by the guy that works at the State Board of Elections that works for the Rhino Republican, Rick Metzger. I've called upon the State Board of Elections to remove the guy that works for the Board of Elections in Baltimore County. I do not want him anywhere near Tim's primary because I'm very fearful that he will tamper with Tim's election because he supports Tim's primary opponent, the Rhino, and because he does Delegate Rick Metzger's bidding and Johnny Salling's bidding as well. I do not trust any of these people. Again, corrupt internal election personnel. It's been proven time and time again. So it's not just the machines, folks. It's not the mail-in ballots. It's not the voter rolls. It's not this crap. And corrupt internal election personnel. My friend William Newton can't say it enough. And I've read his research. It's brilliant. It's been proven. His research, it has been archived in state GOPs nationwide, in Alaska, in Arizona, in Florida. My governor, Ron DeSantis, has William Newton's research, as well as President Trump, and Mike Pence had it too. And Chris Cpac, former congressman of Kansas, has it also. Ted Cruz has it. Greg Abbott has it. Maryland GOP has it. The state, Annapolis, the state legislators in Annapolis, Maryland have it. This is serious, folks. This is real serious. It's so serious that we talked about it on Lindell TV. Let's show the clip. There we go. So my producer is working on the clip right now.
Actually, William T. Newton quoted the term, or actually he came up with the term. It's called corrupt internal election personnel. And that's what you see here, corrupt internal election personnel. A guy who is just a volunteer. He is the one that is manufacturing the votes. He is the one that is causing the election fraud. And we've seen corrupt internal election personnel all over this country, including Arizona, Alaska, and other places.
You're absolutely right. This is all internal, and I'm glad we just showed a picture of this caught on camera. This is what we need, cameras everywhere. But it goes back to the machines. He tampered with a piece of equipment, brought it to his house, according to authorities. They raided his home, found the equipment there, Alexandra. And that's when he was under arrest. So not only did he take it, he brought it home and authorities found it at his house. That's a big problem.
It's very unusual. And the issue is that we need to heavily vet the people that are election judges or people that volunteer. I can tell you that I was in Budapest, Hungary, and I spoke to Marton Ugrozdi, who's the Deputy Secretary of State, and we talked about the election going on April 12th. It's the re-election of Viktor Orban. And we talked about how secure their elections are. They have proper people. Actually, they have law enforcement and people in big departments that actually watch and oversee the elections in real time so that these type of shenanigans don't happen. The problem is these special elections are happening all across the country. A lot of people are becoming complicit, and they're not really paying attention to what's going on. That's why we have these crazy flips of seats that used to be Republican and now they're switching Democrat out of nowhere. So it's very important that we heavily vet the people that are touching or in charge of our elections, especially people that work at the state board of elections. I can tell you in Maryland, for example, the Republican that works at the state board of elections in Baltimore County, there's a lot of corruption with him, and he actually supports another primary opponent. So who's not supposed to win. So it's people like that that we need to get rid of and get away from touching our elections. So again, we need to do it like Europe does it. Europe does it right.
And that's 100% correct what I said, 100%. And I'm glad that Vanessa put me on her show. I'll be on her show again talking about election integrity. And I mean, that's it. Corrupt internal election personnel. I can't say it any clearer. Let's put up the last slide, Nick Cannon. Nope, there we go. So Nick Cannon, who, I mean, he was married to Mariah Carey, had twins with her. I never thought in my life I'd hear him say that the Democrat Party is the party of the KKK. And this is coming from a black guy. I mean, that tells you everything. Everyone's like, is he a Republican? Does he support Trump? I was very shocked to hear him say this, but I'm glad that he did. See, I can't say that, but he can say it. So kudos to him. Kudos to him for stepping up. Kudos to him for stepping up and calling out a spade a spade. Well, before we go to our last segment, don't forget to go to FoliumPX.com. Again, that's another detox, all-natural supplement. Again, you're going to need to detox before Passover and after Passover. Then matzah is binding because there's no yeast in it. So FoliumPX.com, everybody. There's the QR code. There's the discount. We will be right back, guys. Stay with us. We are live after the break.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangan and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Elena, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Join the revolution because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Well, hello, guys. Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. And sorry for a little bit of the delays tonight. We are having some storms around this area. So segment 3, again, talks about the No Kings Rallies. Isn't that great? We had Cpac and we had the No Kings Rallies. I doubt anyone who watches my program was at a No Kings Rally. If you were, and you were just there to spy, I would love to get your take on it. Let's put up the first image, though. So the first image shows Al Sharpton and Robert De Niro. They've joined forces. They say they're working together to stop Trump from becoming a king. And we'll be strategizing every single day until November to make sure Trump and Republicans lose in the midterms. Does anybody really take these idiots seriously? I mean, Robert De Niro is a disgraced actor. Al Sharpton is a disgraced reverend. I mean, he's a moron. Anti-Semite, by the way, anti-white, by the way. And Robert De Niro, I mean, he's a moron. I mean, he just hates Trump. He's got Trump derangement syndrome. So do any of us really take these two men seriously? Do they have the power? Do they have the money to really take Trump down? I doubt it. And again, the No Kings Rally was a bunch of elderly white people that just, it was a way for them to get out of bed and hold up a sign. I mean, the majority of these people don't even know what they were protesting against. President Trump is not a king. And any Democrat incumbent, any Democrat that's running for office who was at this rally, they shouldn't be voted back in. The people that they supposedly represent, their constituents should vote them out. I wouldn't want to have a representative that was a part of the No Kings Rally because President Trump's not a king. He's the president of the United States. He's not a king. So I'm so sorry that people want to think he's a king. I'm so sorry that people want to make him a king, but he's not. And he's acknowledged he's not a king. So the No Kings Rally is the stupidest thing ever. It's dumb. And most people don't pay attention to it because it's stupid. But what I will say is after Cpac, a lot of people drove from Texas to DC to actually protest against a big No Kings Rally in DC. And they got hardly any coverage, but I can tell you that there was a lot of people there opposing the No Kings Rally because they've hashtag had enough. They've hashtag had enough of this crap, calling President Trump a king. It's stupid and it's asinine and doesn't even make sense. And the Democrats are just doing it because they don't know what else to do with their lives. They're bored. Let's do the next image, please. So there you go. No kings. Yep. Obama, get my health care or pay a fine. Joe Biden said, get my vaccine or lose your job. So they're basically saying that those guys are kings compared to President Trump. President Trump never forced the vaccine on anybody. And President Trump is trying to repeal and replace Obamacare because Obamacare is a piece of crap. As we remember, Barack Obama lied to the American people, said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, which was a lie. Obamacare was the biggest scam ever, aka the Affordable Care Act. President Trump calls it the Unaffordable Care Act. And as you know, I'm in the healthcare profession. I don't sell Obamacare. I never will. So don't ask me to give it to you because I won't. There's better plans. And majority of insurance companies don't even accept Obamacare anymore. Majority of doctors don't even accept Obamacare anymore because they know it's a sham. And that's what we need to understand, guys, is let's, call a spade a spade. Again, who's the real king here? Who is the real king? If anybody thinks that President Trump is really a king, put in my comments. If not, forget it. And I just want to thank the people that are commenting on the side. I know there's a lot of people that are watching, and some of them don't comment, and that's fine, but I know that you're watching. My audience has actually grown in the last couple months, and I'm very happy for that. And I also want to thank the people that do share my podcast, and I want to thank my regulars that are watching on a weekly basis. I can tell you, I know that there's people that are watching on YouTube, Rumble, and True Social at the same time. I can tell you, I have friends that have families where they have like 4 kids in a family, and one kid's watching on Rumble, one kid's watching on X, one kid's watching it on True Social, TikTok. So yeah, I mean, I know that you guys are watching, and I know you guys are subscribing, and I love that. So before we get out of here, again, we are in campaign mode. Remember, I am a political consultant. I own my own political consulting from levineconsulting.co. If you do need help, please book a consultation with me. My commercial said it all, but I just want to state it out again for the record, levineconsulting.co. Book a consultation with me today. And some of these candidates that I'm going to mention, I do work with them currently, and I've helped them a lot. Over the years, I've helped them get in office. I've helped them make a name for themselves. I've helped them get money. I've helped put events together for them. And I've known a lot of these candidates for several years. And why? Because I'm loyal to them, because they're loyal to me, because they're good people. And I'm very, very picky who I work with. I only work with people that really want to win and really put in the work ethic and really, know the issues and are not afraid to take constructive criticism, but also want to get the job done for the people and respect my values. So the first person who I've known for 6 years, who I currently work with, is our good friend Tim Fazenbaker. He's running for the new Baltimore County Council District number 9 seat. It is I would say the only MAGA America First district in Baltimore County. It's the newest district based on the redistricting. He is the picked favorite. They have rhinos that are running against him, but he is the picked favorite right now. So please, guys, go to timfazenbaker.com, give him a donation, And there's some big things coming up with him in the next couple months. And he's been all over the place. He's been on multiple interviews. He's been on our show. He's hosted the Pulse on our show a couple times. Great guy, loyal guy, great family. He's got a wonderful wife, 4 kids. So please, guys, go to timfazenbaker.com and donate to him. Next person is Kim Stansberry, running for Baltimore County Executive. So if she wins, she'll be working with Mr. Fazenbaker. She's an awesome lady. She is the pick favorite to win the primary. The general will be tough because she's going up against someone who's got like $2+ million in his wheelhouse, but he hasn't really done anything. He doesn't support ICE. He does not combat anti-Semitism. He's a little crazy, and we can't have crazy Democrats as Baltimore County Executive. So please, guys, go to electkimstansberry.org. If she wins, she will be the first woman elected Baltimore County Executive. They have a woman Baltimore County Executive right now, but she was never elected. She was appointed. So this is what she would. So Kim Stansberry would be the first elected woman Baltimore County Executive. Everybody's looking for a woman, and she's an awesome woman, and we support her 100%. And also, this is new that came. Our good friend Daniel Eisenhart, as you know, he was on my show. He is running for State Senate District 6. That is actually near Tim's district. That's Essex, that's Dundalk, that's Edgemere, and Sparrows Point area. He's an awesome guy. He is running against an incumbent rhino. And the incumbent rhino, we are hearing reports that he is under federal investigation right now because we're finding out that he does not live in his district. In local office, you must live in your district. Federal, you don't have to live in your district. Actually, depending on your state, some states say you have to live in your district, or some states say you don't have to live in your district when you run, but once you win, then you have to move to your district. You know, the state of Florida, it's like that. But when you're running for a local race, you must live in your district. If you have just moved to the district, you must show that you have lived there for 6 months before you even think of running. So we're finding out, again, his incumbent has not lived in his district, currently doesn't live in the district. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of ethics complaints against the incumbent. So please, guys, go to Daniel Eisenhart's QR code right there. Give him a donation, help him out. He's been living in his district for a long time. He's got great family, and we need to get back to him. And then, of course, we have my good friend Marcel Sturbeck, who we've endorsed on this show. He's running for Ohio Secretary of State. He is up and coming, served our nation, married with children. He's running a huge grassroots campaign. He is a force to be reckoned with. People are loving him. They're donating him. They're making fundraisers for him. And he's just kicking butt and doing a great job. So please, guys, go to Marcel Sturbeck, candidate for Ohio Secretary of State. As I told you, my network has personally endorsed him. My show's personally endorsed him. And he's just a great guy, great personality. And he will do a lot. He will fight for election integrity in Ohio. I can guarantee you that one. And then my friend Julie Spivey Perry is running for Congress in Virginia, District 10. She was on our show. She told me that this is a congressional seat that can flip, even though Virginia flipped total Democrat in this last election. But that was on the state level. She feels on the federal level, they want to change. They want Republicans back in Congress. So please, guys, go to Julie Spivey Perry and give her a donation today. Next is our good friend Justin Murphy, who's running for U.S. Senate in New Jersey. Again, it's New Jersey, but, you know, when it comes to federal elections, you never know. I mean, they did unfortunately vote in a Democrat governor, but federal is always different. And Justin's awesome. He's very smart, and he knows the job very well, and he would be an amazing senator. He's on the ballot. He got the signatures that he needed. Now he needs your support. So go to Justin Murphy, Kenny, New Jersey for the U.S. Senate. And last but not least, our good friend Damon Galdo of the Jersey Shore it will be on the ballot in November because he fought to get on that ballot for you, the people. And he is doing this for you guys. He's not doing this for himself. He's not a self-serving man. He's a America First guy through and through, grassroots guy, has a great family. He's had his wife on the show many times. Great family man. He works really hard, and he is running in a he's running for the chance to flip this district. He's already won the primary, but we need to help him for the general. So candidate for New Jersey Congress, District Number 1, Damon Galdo for Congress. That's his QR code. Also, Damon Galdo is on our network. He does the Jersey Shirt every Monday nights and Friday nights from 8 to 9 p.m., plus the Pulse from 8 to 9 p.m. And guys, don't forget the Pulse is tomorrow night from 8 to 9 p.m. I will not be on. It is Passover for me. I just want to say Chag Sameach. and happy Passover to my friends and family and people that are celebrating Passover all over the country and the world. We do pray for the people in Israel. I know a lot of them were not able to get out of the country to have a Passover with their families. I know Passover food it's been kind of hard to get. A lot of people, they're doing what they can. They're doing what they can to survive, but they're doing what they can to have a good Passover. But again, our prayers go out to the people in Israel right now. But I want everybody to have a great Passover. I really do. We as Jews haven't really had a decent holiday in a long time because of the fighting and the turmoil. And the Arabs know, the Islamists know when our holidays are. And that's when they like to cause a lot of havoc. That's when they like to kill us. So we have to say a prayer to Hashem every day and every night. And again, I encourage people, make this Passover a different Passover. It's also very traditional in a Passover Seder to bring non-Jewish people to your Passover Seder. So if you have any non-Jewish friends, I encourage you to invite them to your Passover Seder. Passover Seder, can consist of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people. It just depends how many people you can fit in your synagogue or your home. But I can tell you that I will be spending Passover with my family, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to, because I haven't seen them in a while. But Passover, it's a very important holiday in Judaism, And I just want to make sure that everybody has a really great Passover. Again, don't forget the Pulse again is tomorrow night from 8 to 9 p.m. I will not be on this week because it is Passover. I will either have repeated shows or I will be having people fill in for me. I will be back on the following Tuesday. Probably it'll be April 7th, actually. April 7th. I'll be back live. And if not, you'll see me after the holidays because I think the holiday ends April 9th. So I may have to wait till after the holiday to come back live. So that'll probably be April 9th, 10th, but I'll figure that out. I'll work that out. But I'll let you guys know. Again, don't forget to follow America's Pulse Network on, as I said before, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, Substack, Parler. Where else are we? We're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're on so many different outlets. I can't even keep it straight. I need to write them all down. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys so much. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot. Have a good night.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Alexandra, thanks you for watching tonight's Alexandra Levine live podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you like what the Alexandra talks about, then share the Alexandra Levine live podcast with others. Alexandra also looks